Good evening, welcome, and here we are once again on the Arsenal Gooners 101 channel for the end of week Premier League review show. I'm joined today by one of our regular panelists, Neil. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. I'm wide awake. I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm feeling good.
Excellent. Have Liverpool bought another striker?
No, not yet. But I did put my name down, but Klopp he hasn't responded to me yet. So I don't know what's going on, man.
Okay, so guys, welcome if you're in the chat. Yeah, so it's just the two of us today at the moment. We might get joined by some surprise guests, but we'll see how we go. But let's talk football. We can chop up a few things, seeing as it's only the two of us so far today. But all I can say is last week was pretty exciting. Arsenal lost at the weekend, and then we kind of rekindled a bit of fire in the week. But this weekend, we got another big game for ourselves. But at some point in the proceedings, Neil, I will ask you about my favorite subject, which is pugilism, because this week we have a very special event at the home of football, Wembley Stadium, our local stomping ground where we used to play as kids. Yeah, so those who don't know, Neil from St. Raph's, me from Neasden. That was our back garden, so to speak. We'll be very interested to hear how you feel about Dillian White versus Tyson Fury. But let's get on to the football. So as at last Friday, we were counting down. Hey, Cool K. Yeah, it's a big weekend for us. Last weekend, we were counting down to a FA Cup weekend. So, having seen the 2-2 from the week prior, we were talking about Man City against Liverpool, which was the Saturday FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. And lo and behold, Neil, your team prevailed.
Come on, we had a little bit of help there, to be honest. Yes, I'm happy that they went through, and it was a blinding game. But I'm part of a couple of LFC groups at the moment, and the one thing that everybody seems to be thinking about is why did Guardiola, or Frodiola, some of them call him, why did he play? Why didn't he play full strength team? My view is that he's not after the FA Cup. He doesn't really care. He wanted to put out a side to make it look as if they were trying, but he's focusing on the league and the Champions League. Yeah, he sacrificed the FA Cup as far as a cup game, as I'm concerned. I'm glad we went through. It would have been better if they had their top players playing from the start, in my view. Would we have got through? It would have been a different game, so I can't say yes or no. But it is what it is at the moment. We got through, and I'm happy we did. But for me, it feels a bit like a cheap victory, to be honest. Just a cheap victory. But a victory is a victory, I suppose.
Absolutely. So for those who didn't watch the game or didn't hear about Manchester City's lineup, they played their reserve keeper Stefan. Not the normal centre backs. They played Nathan Ake. Not the normal left back. Zinchenko came in.
Exactly.
But everybody else was kind of like, usuals in that
players.
You got Stones, Cancelo, Fernandinho, Bernardo Silva. No Kevin De Bruyne. He's still obviously a little bit not ready yet. Gabriel Jesus, Jack Grealish got a start for once. Phil Foden and Sterling. Whereas Liverpool played what is tantamount to being a starting 11 for any game.
Yep.
Yeah. Chose to use Luis Diaz up front in the 3 with Mane and Salah. That's a dangerous 3, and you've got to fear that. And playing Nathan Ake, to me, kind of was the writing on the wall for me. I mean, I like Nathan Ake as a kid. He seems to always give his best, but I don't think he's quite that quality.
I don't think that Nathan Ake, as much as I like the player, he doesn't deserve to be in that squad, because when you look at the players that are in that squad, you kind of think, well, why is he there?
Yeah.
What can he bring to that squad that the other players can't? And to
Yeah.
me, the answer is nothing.
I mean, he's kind of to me like a work in progress. But what he is John Stones from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So if he progresses at the rate John Stones does, then yeah, you've got yourself a good player. But to play him in an FA Cup semi-final, that was a bad move by Pep.
Yeah, but Pep knew what he was doing. As I said, I think that Pep decided to sacrifice that game because, trust me, guarantee, if both teams get through to the Champions League final, as an example, because it's a possibility,
yeah,
there's no way Pep would play any of those players that he played on Saturday as starters. He'd have them on the bench maybe, but not as starters. It's a different squad if they both get through to the Champions League final. It'll be a different game, completely different game. But we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. As I said,
indeed,
cheap victory. I enjoyed the victory. We look good. They looked okay. I'm just hoping that that's how it's going to be from now on.
yeah. So, briefly on that game, who was your man of the match?
Do you know what, right? Me personally, Luis Diaz. I've just got this thing about Luis Diaz. Yeah, he's because the thing is, not many players can drop into a team like LFC or Man City or any team like that and look that good from the get-go. And he's got he's got a few players that he's competing with for those front three positions. Yeah. And he's something to me. He's something else. Thiago actually turned up as well, because Thiago, for me at the moment, I think he's sometime-ish. When he plays well, he looks really good. But there are times when he just looks very ordinary, and he shouldn't even be on the pitch. So he had a blinding game on Saturday as well. But for me, it's got to be Luis Diaz, because he's a new boy in the block. He's proved to me anyway that he deserves a start in most games. Yeah.
Wow. So never striker gets relegated. Yeah.
Do you know? It's difficult. It's when you look at. I know. But when you look at the quality of the front three, you can have any of those three strikers on, and if they're on form, you forget about the others that aren't actually on the pitch.
Yeah.
And it's a good position to be in.
Absolutely.
And it just shows that if Liverpool can keep Salah and Mane for at least another year, we can fight on all fronts next season as well.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. We'll just have to see. If Liverpool
so let's move on. The Cool K says, if Liverpool end this season with just the one trophy they currently have, it would be viewed a disaster. 4 would be beyond dreams. Anything in between is great. That's a decent question, Neil. What do you think?
I kind of agree that as I said before, I would like to see them win the FA Cup as well. The league is still right at the moment out of their hands. Yeah, it's for City to mess up, because they've got that point. Champions League, there again, that could, as I said, it's possible that it could be another Liverpool City game. And City, no matter what anybody says, City are the team to beat. They've always been the team to beat. So I'll be happy. I'm glad they've won the League Cup, because that's something that they haven't done. If they win the FA Cup, that would be good, because that means that Klopp has done the domestic, because he's never won those two cups. Yeah, so he's done the domestic double on those two domestic competitions. Um, I can't see them getting all four, to be honest, because City have their name written on the league, and it's possible they could actually win the Champions League for the first time as well.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah,
can't write them off. We've seen the quality they've got. We know how good they are. Yeah,
yeah.
just can't go well. They'll have a bad game because they hardly ever have bad games.
Okay. 18 says, I think Man City will crumble under the pressure and Liverpool will win the title. Well, I have my feelings are I don't see that. Where is the body of evidence that shows that Man City are the type of team that crumbles? I mean, yeah, they lose the odd cup game. Yeah, but they're not a team that crumbles. They're not, they haven't got that in their makeup. So I would disagree with you with that statement. What about yourself, Neil?
Yeah, to be honest, I can't see City crumbling.
Yeah,
They've proved time and time again. There was a season where they won it by 1 point. Liverpool had it in their hands, and Liverpool do what they do a lot, which is draw too many games. Even
yeah,
this season, Liverpool have drawn too many games because City have only won one more game than them. Yeah, but we've just drawn too many games. We've thrown away those points, and it's good that we've won so many games in a row. But is that going to be enough? We'll have to see what happens over the next sort of remaining 6 games. But it's possible Liverpool could lose a game out of one of the remaining six, or two, or three. We don't know.
yeah.
It's just that unknown. But I can't see City crumbling. I want them to, obviously, for obvious reasons. I just can't see it. I just can't see it. You know,
And I think I've asked Apollo to see if he can pull up a running graphic. But to me, in the last 6 games left, there's one game that stands out like the sore thumb for me for Liverpool, and that is Spurs.
Yep, yep. Spurs,
You
Spurs,
know,
Spurs, Spurs is the game that I'm kind of worrying about out of the remaining games.
yeah. I mean, obviously, I would love for you guys to do a number on Spurs because that makes our job easier in our pursuit of top 4. Even
Yeah,
though I think that's now gone.
it's not gone.
But
It's not gone. It's not gone.
it's not gone. It's not at all gone. Technically, if you beat Spurs and we draw with Spurs, we'd get the top 4 if we win out.
Yeah,
But yeah, as I said, if Apollo, you could pull up a graphic of the last 6 for the top 2, and then also possibly for the European places. Nice one, Alex from Cannon Fodder TV joining us. For those of you who don't follow Alex, he has a channel dedicated to Arsenal called Cannon Fodder. There it is. He does breaking news, Cannon Fodder. He does a great show in the daytime. I don't know how he does it because he works with children, so he's always at some weird time. It was all right for me when I was on my half-term break, but yeah, he does a great show, guys. Follow Cannon Fodder if you get a chance. That was the FA Cup semi-final first leg, which Liverpool triumphed in. On the same day, I'm wondering, should we do the other fixture? Let's talk about the other FA Cup fixture before we go to the league. Very quickly. Chelsea won 2-0, was it?
yeah. Beat Crystal Palace. It was Crystal
Yeah.
Palace. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anything to say about that? Because
To
wasn't
be
the most.
honest, I didn't really follow the game too much because I had assumed that Chelsea was just going to blitz away Palace. As much as I wanted Palace to go through, they haven't got the quality. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to look at. I mean, when you look at the top 3 teams as they are at this moment in time, and you look at the quality they've got, it's very hard to see mid-table teams beating them in big occasions like that. And for
Yeah.
me, Palace has come a long way under Vieira, but they still kind of feel like a mid-table team. And I just couldn't see them coming up with the quality as much as I hoped they did. Um, the fact that Chelsea were winning, I just thought, I'd kind of switched off, to be honest. I couldn't see it happening.
Okay. I mean, this sets up an interesting dynamic for Chelsea because this is the third year in a row Chelsea are at the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
And they've lost the previous two to Arsenal and Leicester.
As I said, I'm not going to assume that Liverpool are going to blow them away. I mean, if Liverpool play their A game, they can beat Chelsea. But you're talking about one-off games, not league games.
Yeah.
You're talking about a one-off game, and the FA Cup over the years, even when you're not looking at the final, when you're looking at the qualifying rounds and the quarters and the semi-finals, you always get a much smaller team or get a smaller team that giant kill. So for me, nothing's written until it's written. So I'm hoping it's going to be a good game. I'm hoping Liverpool can do a number on Chelsea and actually win without penalties. That's what I'm hoping for. But there again, we'll just have to see what happens, see how it plays out in the end.
Indeed, we will.
All right, what was cool, Kay?
So, I think we'll see a back three again. He's talking about Arsenal playing Man United tomorrow, but we ain't got to that. So let's leave that out for now. So let's revert back to Saturday, and obviously go back to the Premier League. And the first morning game was Brighton away to Tottenham Hotspur, was it? Were they at home? I can't even remember now.
I was giddy over, to be honest. That day I was just like thinking about the LFC game and the City game. I didn't really pay attention much to the Premier League games, but yeah, Spurs won that one, didn't they?
No.
Spurs dropped the points, and you guys dropped the point. Sorry. Old age it's kicking in now. Yes. No, that was those two games. I was actually surprised because I assumed that both you and Spurs would have just won your games. The fact that the Spurs dropped the points first, and then you guys played afterwards, and you dropped points as well.
Exactly.
And that was, for me, that was just kind of like, what's going on here? Doesn't either team want fourth position? Because you kind of opened it up a little bit. Hey Andy, you're right.
Andy.
You opened it up a little bit for United, didn't you?
You come on at the perfect moment because we've just dissected the FA Cup, which Neil was involved in last weekend, and now we're started with.
I wasn't personally involved, but yes.
Spurs' dismal display. Was that away? Or was it at home?
Where?
At home. You're on Saturday.
When?
Last Saturday, you lost to Brighton.
Yeah.
You're at home.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's your glory, mate. Off you go. Talk to us. Tell us what happened.
We didn't turn up, just like you didn't the week before.
Expand.
Well, yeah, no. Well, I mean, it was just dismal. From the beginning, Brighton. We started all right for a few minutes, but Brighton took control of the game, and we just weren't at the races at all. It was totally lethargic, no energy. It was just a really, really poor performance. We didn't look like scoring. They weren't amazing, but 0-0 would have probably been the right result, and they got a 90th minute winner. I can't say they didn't deserve it. So it's just, sometimes you have really poor performances, and we didn't deserve anything out of that game. So what can you say? You got to move on and hope we show up tomorrow.
Cool. Okay, so that's the Tottenham side of the argument. Neil, have you got any comment on that game?
To be honest, I didn't really watch much of it. As I said, I was kind of focusing on the later game with Liverpool Man City.
Yeah.
I was as I said, when I found out the result, I was kind of shocked anyway. I just couldn't see Brighton winning that game. But
Yeah.
I did watch some highlights afterwards. I didn't, as I said, I didn't catch too much because obviously I was a. By the time I watched the highlights, I was a very happy man. And I wasn't interested, to be honest. But yeah, from what I saw, I just don't know what happened to you guys, Andy. I really don't.
Well,
I can't explain it.
well, Brighton went on a shocking run where they lost like 6 on the spin, and
Yeah,
then they got a draw against Norwich, where they still didn't score, 0-0. And then they played Arsenal and got the win at Arsenal, and that seemed to give them a bit of confidence. But had we played anything like we'd played for the last month, we would have turned them over because they weren't amazing, and they didn't really look much like scoring either. But we were just literally all the goals that have been flooding in for the last 6 weeks just didn't. There was no movement. There was no energy. There was no. And to be fair, what I will say about Potter is I think he is very tactically astute because he stopped the supply to Kane. He got bodies. He was blocking the routes to Kane, and it does show you if you can stop. If you stop Kane getting the ball, it does seriously affect Spurs' ability to dominate matches in the way that we have been. And so you have to give Potter a lot of credit that he set his team up to stop Kane getting possession, and largely he succeeded, and that stopped Tottenham.
Yeah.
So whether Arteta is going to be able to come up with a plan to do the same thing, I don't know. We'll wait and
We
see.
don't have to play Brighton again.
No, I mean whether Arteta can do it when he plays Spurs.
So yeah. So okay. So we'll move on to the next set of games, which were the 3:00 kickoffs, and I might as well start off with Arsenal away to Southampton, because I was part of the watch along that watched this game, and we started off quite brightly, but I was looking at this game and thinking to myself, the way this game is going, we're likely to concede because we look right now very vulnerable at the back. You know, even in midweek against Chelsea, you know, we look very good going forward. We created some good opportunities, but defensively, we were just being shredded in the first half. We closed it up quite a bit in the second half, but the first half we was there to be taken. So Southampton, to me, all they needed to do was keep it tight, and Arsenal were going to give them an opportunity. And lo and behold, they got one, and they took full advantage of it. So, unfortunately, Arsenal had an opportunity to gain valuable ground over Spurs or with Spurs, and we lost that momentum because we lost the 1-0 to a Bednarek goal. And not a lot else that I could say about that. Anyone else want to chime in on that game?
I think.
there again. Go on, Andy. Go on.
Go on, you go, Neil. Fine.
No, I was going to say there again. To be honest, a lot of the games I did not really watch. To be honest, and that's all I can say.
You're
Yeah,
just a
I've seen some
selfish
highlights.
bastard.
Look, man, I was kind of happy. Obviously, from the LFC Man City game and the result. And yeah, to be honest, I was a selfish beastard that weekend. Yeah, say no more. But yeah, there again, as I said, I did actually look into some of the results to see what happened for curiosity. As I said, the Arsenal Southampton, there again, just the same with Spurs. I just didn't see you guys losing, and I found out you did, which is kind of strange, you know, really strange.
So
it was strange. I think Southampton probably deserved the victory. From what I could see, that they maybe had the best chances, but you know, it was a bit of a shock to see Arsenal lose 3 on the spin to Palace, Brighton, and Southampton. you're expecting at least one of those games that you're going to get a reaction and win. And then bizarrely, of course, which I'm sure we'll come on to later, is you got your reaction in the week. But I've also got things to say about that particular game as well. But we'll come to that when we talk about that game. But
so just to counter your point about Southampton got what they deserved. Arsenal had 76% possession. We had 23 shots compared to Southampton's 9. We had 6 on target compared to Southampton's 3. We had more corners and equal fouls.
But what about the quality of the chances?
Well,
because we can all shoot from distance and angles.
Put it this way: who was the man of the match? Fraser Forster.
Yeah, Forster did get the man of the match from what I mean,
he pulled off 2 saves within sort of 2 minute span that you would go worldies. Absolute. I mean, you're like, when you see those chances and he saves them in the first half, you just go, we ain't winning this. Because sometimes when you see a keeper is on that kind of form, that there's nothing, you put the ball in a place that he's not supposed to get it and he gets it, you're like, writing's on the wall right there and then. So
yeah, but sometimes Southampton, I think Southampton's sometimes very hot and very cold. And when they are hot, Forster is the man that actually keeps them in the game. He does a lot for them. But then when he's not on form, they drop points. And when you go into their second game, we can talk a bit more about that because that was a completely opposite result.
Yeah. So the other 2 games, we'll start off with Man United 3, Norwich 2. And once again, the people in the back who will say, oh, but Man United, they've been disturbed by the fact that Ronaldo's come in. We shouldn't play him. What a load of rubbish. Where would Man United be without Ronaldo? And if you're going to turn around and say, oh, well, without Ronaldo, Rashford would be scoring more goals. I have just got to say, you guys are crazy.
Do you know, I'm going to comment on that. To be honest, right, Ronaldo has saved them a lot this season, but it's like it's a completely different team with him playing. When you look at compared to last season, yeah, it's a different team. Yes, they got this. It's the same names, but they're not playing the same way. It's not to say that Ronaldo isn't this great player and he doesn't add a lot to the team, yeah, which he has done this season, and he saved them this season, especially in Champions League. But the other players are not doing what they did last season. Yeah, you would have expected to come second in the league, yeah, with the potential of winning the league, and then you bring in names like Ronaldo. You kind of think, well, do you know what? Maybe they can win it. You wouldn't expect them to be struggling for the top 4, which is what they've done this season. Yeah. So yes, Ronaldo does bring a lot to it, but then the other side of it is the other players are not contributing how they contributed the season before he was there.
They have to play differently with Ronaldo in the team. That's the crucial thing. Now, Tony knows I love Cristiano Ronaldo, so his goal scoring record is, well, it's basically second to none. I mean, him and Messi are levels above any other players on the planet.
They proved why they're the top players.
But the thing is, you've got to accept that the guy's 36, 37. He's not going to harry. He's not going to chase. And the managers that play the style of pressing, counter-attacking football, your Rangnicks, his disciples like Klopp and Tuchel, and obviously, previously at Spurs you had Pochettino, Bielsa, who was obviously Pochettino's mentor. Those guys play a very certain type of way, and Ronaldo doesn't really fit into that pattern of play.
Yeah, definitely.
But Ronaldo, if you've got a player like him, he is always going to potentially get you a brace or a hat trick, because if you give him a chance, he'll put it away. The question is, it doesn't really. I think Man United have it's great that he's there. It's great for the Premier League that you've got a player like Ronaldo there and scoring amazing goals. He's great to watch. I like watching Ronaldo, just purely for his class. But in a lot of games this season, he hasn't done very much, because United have been under pressure, and when they've been under pressure, Ronaldo isn't going to do anything, because you have to give him the ball in dangerous areas. It's a bit like Spurs with Kane earlier in the season. Spurs were playing so poorly, we weren't feeding Kane. And if we don't feed Kane, he doesn't do anything. He doesn't really do anything, because he's not getting the ball, and the team suffers. So it's a strange thing whereby you wouldn't want to say you don't want to play Ronaldo, but at the same time, because he's brilliant, and as you say, he's won Man United many points and important Champions League games this year. But at the same time, it changes their dynamic and their style of play to have him in the team. And I'm not sure that's benefited them long term. It might have benefited them this season, but it's not their answer long term.
Yeah, sorry. The thing you've got to look at the Premier League and Premiership football is we attack as a team, we defend as a team, which is what makes us different to the other European leagues. And Ronaldo just doesn't defend enough. He doesn't, you can't, because of his age, you can't have him trying to defend and then trying to sprint up, even though he's very physically fit. I mean, there's a lot of people that will wish that they were that fit at that sort of age. But he doesn't run back. He doesn't track back. He doesn't. If he loses the ball, he hardly ever tries to win that ball back. A lot of times, for me, it's like United are playing with 10 men, even though Ronaldo is on the pitch. But then again, you put that and you combine that with the fact that defensively they've been crap this season. Yeah, there are times they've been torn apart, and I won't even talk about the Liverpool game either yet.
But that is not just the defence. It's not the defence's fault. They've just, as a unit, defensive midfield, and even the attacking players who should be pressing higher up the pitch, the whole defensive unit of United hasn't operated well.
Exactly, and that's also part of the reason why they've done so badly this season as well. Because when you think about it, they've still more or less still got the same team that they had last season with some good additions. Those good additions haven't actually helped the team too much this season. And for me, as a Liverpool fan, I'm happy.
Barely done anything.
Who?
Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, I know. I was just joking. I'm thinking, like, yeah, he's come to the team. Why? When they first bought him, everybody thought, yeah, this is time for him to shine in the Premier League, and he's going to tear the league up this season.
The problem is they bought Sancho before they went and got Ronaldo, and I don't think when they bought Sancho, I don't think that they were planning on getting Ronaldo. They ended up getting Ronaldo because they were worried that Ronaldo was going to go to City.
Yep.
And when that became a possibility, United sort of kicked into gear and thought, we can't have Ronaldo going to play for City, and they went and got him. And I don't think that suited. It didn't suit. Who was the manager earlier in the season before Ranić?
Ollie,
yeah. It didn't suit the way he wanted to play, so it kind of hamstrung. It gave him hamstrung him, and then Ranić's come in. It doesn't really suit his style either. So it's a real kind of weird conundrum with Ronaldo, whereby you want to see him play, but he affects their whole dynamic as a team.
Exactly.
So it's a strange one, but long term, I'm not sure Ronaldo's going to be there next year. Maybe
it hasn't worked out. Well, to be honest, I can't see them getting into Champions League. They're not winning. They haven't won any cups this season.
If they beat Arsenal tomorrow, they're still in it.
No, I'm not saying that they're totally out of it, but I mean, you've got to look at the momentum that they're playing under at the moment. I just can't see them getting that fourth spot. Can you see Ronaldo in the chief of competitions for United wanting to play? No, I can't see that. I cannot see that. I mean, if he stays with them, he's got no choice. But I can't. I
I
just
wouldn't
can't.
be shocked if Ronaldo went to PSG or somewhere like that.
Yeah, but will he fit in that PSG?
What?
Will he fit in that PSG?
I think
You got to look at his age. I mean, if Mbappe goes, then all right, fair enough. There's a position there, kind of, right? But PSG for me, I mean, I've looked at PSG in a couple of their games in the last few games, and I'm not impressed with the
the
players that they've
PSG are
got
like the
on.
Harlem Globetrotters, aren't they? They just
Yeah.
buy all the superstars, and Ronaldo would fit their whole thing, wouldn't he? He'd just work.
Well, okay, so right then, PSG. I suppose PSG are like the old Real Madrid Galacticos, yeah, where
No.
they're just buying
No.
names. No, as
But
in buying names, having big names
yes
playing.
and no.
Yeah,
In the Galacticos sense,
just
yes,
like
but in the achievement sense, no,
no,
because
no, 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 no. What I'm saying is that when Real Madrid were buying up players, they were just buying big names, irrespective of the price, right? And it worked for them. But then again, they went through a stage that they had these big names, and Barca was doing it all. Yeah, they were winning and winning and winning, right? PSG seemed to think that yeah, we got a lot of money. Let's just buy big names, and we're going to be automatically successful. But when you watch some of those games that they play in, you kind of think, well, is Messi actually playing? Yeah, what's Neymar doing?
the
What's
problem
happening? Why are they struggling?
the problem PSG have got is that the level of their domestic competition, and that's not saying that there aren't brilliant players in France because there are, and we all want to buy them, but the level of the domestic competition, they are so much superior to all the other sides over a decade. I know that they didn't win the league last year, but over the decade they've been so far superior to everyone else. They don't get the level of competition over there that the likes of City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, Spurs, Arsenal they get every week
Yeah,
here.
but Andy, they should still be blowing away the French teams in the
Yes,
league,
but you've got to
and they
understand
don't.
if you're not playing, what happens is you look at the likes of City. They often have a rocky start, right? And then they come into and they move into sort of express mode as the season goes on, and then they hit that form, and then they go win, 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 win. Liverpool have done it again this season.
Yeah.
They stuttered a bit, but then that once they get into that express mode, they just knock everyone down.
Yeah,
Win,
yeah.
win, 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 win. Now PSG, in their league, they don't have the same level of intensity, and I don't think they ever build to the level that they need to perform at the top level in the knockout stages of the Champions League. They just can't. They don't seem to be able to raise the level of intensity once they get to the latter stages of the Champions League. It's a problem for PSG. But
Right, let's get back on track, gentlemen.
Sorry.
We kind of deviated. So the thing is, as I said, without Ronaldo, Man United resort to type. And we saw that in two clear games. They went from Saturday, Ronaldo hat-trick, to Wednesday, what the hell?
what? Well, yeah, but Tone, that one was at home to Norwich, the other one was away to Liverpool. I mean, that could happen to anyone, couldn't it? They're not comparable opposition,
let's be honest. That's a game. That's your biggest rival.
Yeah.
That's your biggest rival
over the decades. Yeah.
And
when you
Liverpool went
walk
easy
out
on them.
on the turf at Anfield, yeah, you got Sir Alex in the stand, and he's had a word.
To be honest, before that game, I was actually worried about what that result was going to be. I actually thought that United
You have to be.
were going to take some points off LFC.
You have to be. I mean, it's like Spurs Arsenal. It doesn't matter where the other team is. When Spurs meet Arsenal, you expect every man to die on the pitch in an effort to win that particular game.
Exactly.
That's your North London derby.
That's what the rivalry
all respect
does.
to Everton, but let's be honest, you guys expect to smack up Everton. Yeah? But that game, that's the one game in the season where you have to turn up, and you saw the fallout after it.
Yeah, when you look at as a Liverpool fan, when I look at all the teams in the league, the one team we do not want to lose to is United. We'd even rather lose to Everton than United, because that's how big the rivalry is.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how big it is. That's the one game we can't say we're gonna lose or we want to lose. Yeah, no matter what. And to be honest, I felt it for the United fans. I mean, obviously there was the 7 minute, Cristiano Ronaldo, we feel sorry for you, all that sort of stuff, which is really good. Yeah, it shows that
the classy
Ronaldo said, sorry.
It was a classy gesture from Liverpool fans.
Yeah, and Ronaldo actually he responded to it in a tweet. He mentioned about one football, one competition, one league sort of thing, which is really nice. And that's what most fans need to remember as well. No matter what the rivalry is, as an advert for the Premier League, we're one league, yeah, and we do our best, and we behave ourselves and all that sort of stuff, which is really good, and we show respect, which is really good in that game. But to be honest, apart from that, United, if I was Ronaldo at the same time, I would have been so upset and so embarrassed that I didn't play and my team lost 4-0 to my biggest rivals.
Knowing him, he probably would have been, but I suspect that he had more pressing matters.
Obviously, he did have more pressing things on his mind, and we all know why. But if you put that aside, as a footballer, he would have thought that. He probably would have thought, no, there's no way we're going to lose 4-0 to Liverpool. And he would have been embarrassed just from the football inside. But obviously, yes, he did have other things on his mind.
He's apparently back in the squad for tomorrow.
Yeah, he is. He is.
That'll please Tony.
Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, there was one more game on the Saturday, which was Watford lost at home to Brentford. Another assist for Christian Eriksen. Not really much to say about that game, to be honest.
To be honest, literally since he had the heart problems and since he's come back with Brentford, it's like a completely different player. He's picked up where he left off, before he had the problems with his heart, and he's looking really, really good. Will Brentford be able to hold on to him? I don't think they will, to be honest.
There's a lot of talk that we're trying to get him over the summer to get him to come back.
I'm not surprised. I mean, look at how he's playing and look at the assists and what he's doing at Brentford at the moment. Nobody thought that when it was mentioned he was going to Brentford, I thought it was like a sympathy thing. He's a good player, but let's see if we can help him and take advantage of what's happening at the moment. And he's just turned around to Brentford and said, "Thank you very much. This is what I'm going to do for you." And everybody's going, "Wow, what's going on with him?" He's doing well. He's doing really well.
There's a lot of talk that Bale signed a pre-contract agreement to come back to Spurs, but it's being denied publicly at the moment. But I'm not sure I can see them going for Bale and Eriksen. I know they're different types. I know they're different players, but I can't see him paying big money to two players like that.
Would you want Bale back in his current form at the moment, the way he's playing?
Well, the problem is, you see with Wales what he's capable of doing.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of baggage at the moment. You can see mentally he's got some baggage.
And for all the problems he had at Spurs last year, he still ended up with 16 goals.
Yeah.
And he hardly played. So I mean, he's still a class player. The problem you've got with him is he's always injured, and that is an issue. How much are you actually going to get out of him for the wages you're going to pay him? But we'll see. TC?
Yes, so the next game we're going to cover was the Sunday fixtures. Where should we start with that one?
Newcastle-Leicester was the first one.
Newcastle-Leicester, why not? Tell me about that game, Neil.
you know what? Right.
He
I,
didn't see it.
no. I watched it. I did watch it, but to be honest, no. I was gonna say that Newcastle are constantly making me eat humble pie. Because remember earlier on, I was saying there's no way they're getting out and blah blah
Yeah.
blah, and I feel like they're just having a go at me personally. So sorry, Newcastle. I'm sorry that I said that you weren't going to get out the bottom at the relegation battle, and yeah, they seem to turn up. I couldn't see, even though they were on a good form, I thought Leicester was just going to be that too strong for them at this moment in time because Newcastle are still in transition at the moment, and we know that at the end of the season they're going to go and buy better players and come back stronger. Um, I just thought that Leicester were going to do one on them, and to be honest, Newcastle deserved it. They deserve the way they played. They're good battlers. Bruno, I can't even say his name. What's his
Bruno
Guimaraes?
Guimaraes.
Yeah, all right, class player. Well, in that game, he was a class player.
Yeah,
Say no more.
very good player.
Yeah. He's brilliant player. And I won't say that I'd like to see him at LFC because I know what you're going to say, Tony. So I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
There's a real chance that Newcastle could actually end up in the top half of the table. Which
I was just about to say that, Andy. I mean, literally, you know,
which when you go back 2 months or 3 months, it was like what?
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, they're a point behind Leicester, who they just beat, and on form, they could easily end up 8th.
Not 8, 9.
Yeah, but that's a turnaround.
They could end up 8th. I mean, they're 9 points off of 8th.
They won't get Wolves. They won't catch Wolves.
You never know.
Nothing. Put it this way: a couple of months ago, as I said, I was saying they're not, staying in the league. Yeah, they've done so well to get that high up from the position they were in. They were holding the whole.
Eddie Howe a lot of credit for what he's done up there.
Yeah.
Last week, didn't I?
Yes, he did get backed, and they did get some players in January. But it wasn't like they bought absolute superstars in January, apart from Guimaraes, who probably is. They bought decent players, and yet Trippier's been injured for the last.
Exactly, I was going to say that Trippier's been.
So,
out.
they haven't had too much more. But what he's done with Joe Linton, or Joelinton, depending on how you want to pronounce it, but he's he's done remarkably well at moving back into midfield, and he's been a revelation in midfield. He's got the best out of Shelby.
Willock as well. He's done a lot with Willock as well.
Sorry?
Still can't sort out St. Maximum, though.
Well, the thing is, he's in product. He reminds me a little bit of Aaron Lennon, where he was brilliant, but he had very little end product a lot of the time. But
I mean, he's such a good player. I know Bertram loves him, and
I like watching him. Yeah. But you know that the chances are that it won't end up in a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, I think
play is wonderful.
No, I think he's a great player, but I just don't think Newcastle is a team that can bring the maximum out of him.
I think you should buy him, Neil. I think you should buy him and give us Jota.
No. Yes, I would like to see him there, but no.
The other game was
West Ham Burnley.
West Ham won, Burnley won. Obviously, West Ham were on a massive come down after their European triumph. So I wasn't surprised. I mean, Burnley are in a desperate situation to get wins now.
Those are the worst teams to play. The teams that are desperate and will do anything.
And Burnley are the type of team that you kind of think they can get out of this. I think they've shot themselves in the foot by getting rid of their manager, but they are still that same group of players that year in, year out have fought tooth and nail to keep themselves in that division.
But they beat Southampton last night.
Yeah. That's why I think they're the type of team that, you know what? I kind of expect them to come out and cause problems for any team. And I kind of expected the come down from West Ham. So I did think there's a decent chance Burnley could get a result here. But yeah, 1-1, decent game. Anything else to say about that one, guys?
No, I can't. I didn't actually watch that game. I've seen the goals, but I didn't watch the game.
No worries. That leads us on to Tuesday night football. Liverpool 4, Man United 0.
Yeah.
Less said the better.
If Liverpool had wanted it, they could have had double figures.
Yeah, I'm kind. To be honest, I'm happy they won. I'm surprised that they won by that much because I thought United were going to actually turn up, and then I was kind of disappointed towards the end of the game that we didn't smack more goals against them. We had the opportunities, we just didn't take them, and it was our chance. Yes, we did rub their nose in it, but we could have rubbed their noses a lot more in it, to be honest. But yeah, overall, for me, I'm happy with the result. For me, it's more about not the amount of goals, but the 3 points, because obviously trying to keep up with City.
But the goals were helpful to keep that goal difference with City, because if it was to come to a tie with you and City, that goal difference could tip the title in your favour.
Yeah, but I can't see how that could end up as a tie. There's going to be one winner.
Just needs a draw, doesn't it?
But it's only a draw. No, say City lost the game and you drew one.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, it could work that way. We'll just have to see.
So yeah, we've protested about Man United, so we won't kill them anymore. Then we come to Wednesday night's fixtures, and of course, I have got to talk about Chelsea 2, Arsenal 4.
You guys are very hot and cold at times, yeah? Because games that I expect you to lose, you'll win brilliantly, right? And then games that, I think that
didn't win that brilliantly, bro. We didn't win that brilliantly.
I'll let Tony have his glory first.
Okay.
I have things to say about that game Wednesday.
4-2 against Chelsea.
Did not Brentford go to Chelsea and win 4-1 2 weeks previous?
Yeah, they did, but we're talking about Arsenal.
Okay, so let me talk about my team.
And Real Madrid got 3 there as well.
Yeah, let me talk about my team then. My team have found themselves in the untenable position that the players they put on the pitch are the only players they can choose from, with the exception of one player here or there. So essentially, we dropped Martinelli. Yeah, put him on the bench. Played Smith Rowe in that position, and we continue to leave out one of our most prolific players in Nicola Pepe. As the game started, I wasn't expecting a great amount because I already know what Chelsea are about. If they play a good team, they should demolish us. But Chelsea did us a favour. They started with 10 men. Because when I saw the team sheet, I was like, hang on a second. Not only have they put Christensen in the back 4 or the back 3, but they put in Lukaku up front. Now, I know he killed us at the first game in the season, but since that game, he has been useless.
Andy, go on, say what you say about him.
That sound useless.
Say what you say about him, Andy, every time. Go on,
say it again. I said it at the beginning of the season. No one can say I never said it.
Say it again, Andy. We want to hear you say it again.
No, I said my piece on Lukaku.
So
I've been proved right. That's all I want to say.
This game to me was a favour. Thomas Tuchel went, you know what? I'm going to help Arteta out. We don't need to do anything at this stage in the league. We got an FA Cup final coming up. Yeah, we've just done the hard job. We beat Crystal Palace in the semi. Let me just play a couple of reserve team players and give them a little run out.
The thing is, though, right, that third spot, is up for grabs.
No, it's not.
No,
it's up for grabs.
It's not because too many of the teams that are trying to get there are playing each other, and we're going to take points off each other. Spurs on Arsenal, United, Arsenal, West Ham. They're all
Chelsea are
playing
going to
each
win
other.
those games. You're assuming Chelsea are going to win the remaining games.
No,
they haven't got anyone difficult to play.
I'm not assuming that. But Chelsea have got enough of a cushion. They've still got a game in hand. They've still got a game in hand, and they've got a 5-point cushion. That's going to mean they're going to need to lose 3 games of the last 6 or 7, which they might do, but the rest of us are going to lose games as well. We're not all going to win the last 6 games.
Yeah.
So I think Chelsea.
It's not done. It's not done and dusted yet.
Maybe if Arsenal or Spurs went on a run, maybe we could catch Chelsea for 3rd. But Chelsea will still get top 4 because if Spurs beat Arsenal, Arsenal won't make it, and if Arsenal beat Spurs, Spurs won't make it.
I think they will be top 4, but that 3rd position isn't theirs yet.
Anyway, let's leave that. Let's move on.
Them to come 3rd, but yeah, go on.
So let me explain the first half. Arsenal showed we had to play Nketiah. Even though Lacazette was back available, I didn't think he could start because he's had COVID. To me, he shouldn't even been on the bench, but he was there. So Nketiah started the game prior, didn't score any goals, but he's obviously chomping at the bit. And his glory finally came. Apollo was very happy. Nketiah scored 2 goals. And I was pleased for the lad because he works hard. And to play in a team where you've got a striker who can't score goals and your manager shows no effort at saying, let me try my other striker, I would just feel like, you know what? If I was that guy, I'd be walking away and saying to you, because you clearly can't even think logically to say, let me drop this guy who ain't performing and play my next guy, number 2 in the list, and see how he does. So I was pleased for him that he got some goals, but let's be honest, the first half was as good as it was bad. Arsenal scored 2 goals. One was a gift from Christensen. Thank you very much. But then we let 2 goals in, and to be honest, it was a half that you kind of went, well, that was pretty much even Stevens' half. 2-2 was pretty much where I thought that half needed to be. I expected Tuchel to make the necessary adjustments to go on and win the game, especially as they're at home, but he didn't.
Yeah, the fact that you guys allowed Werner to score as well. I mean, he's been very poor.
In all honesty, Werner's more of a threat than Lukaku is.
Oh, and, yeah, definitely.
He showed more about his game because he had some nice runs.
Yeah.
So he showed more about his game than Lukaku did. But as I said, when you play 10 men, as I believe Chelsea were, then we stood a chance. And we came out that second half. We showed a bit of gusto, and we got the 2 goals. I mean, well won for the penalty by Bukayo Saka. Pleased that he scored a penalty. He put it in exactly the same spot that he did. Anyone notice?
Yeah.
He put it exactly the same spot that Donadoni saved that penalty in the Euros.
Yeah.
No further into the goal net, exactly the same height. I was like, if the goalkeeper just looked at that first penalty and did the same thing, he saves it.
Yeah, but you got to think that even though penalty takers follow their own sort of pattern and it's very easy to read, in the moment of the game, you've got that question: do I do what I've studied, or are they going to try and fool me by doing something completely different? And that's why a lot of keepers get wrong-footed, because even though at the back of their mind they've studied those penalties, they just probably think he's not going to do that because that's way too obvious.
Yeah. I mean, my point is not that, I don't expect goalkeepers to ever save penalties. They shouldn't be. Yeah. But my point is, you took a penalty and your penalty technique didn't get better in that. Okay, the goalkeeper read it wrong, but if he was a savvy goalkeeper like Donnarumma was, he goes the right way and he saves it because you put it in a savable spot. And Andy, you're a striker. You were a striker, a phenomenal striker. What's your thoughts on a striker, on a penalty taker who doesn't side net it?
Yeah, I mean, I took penalties, and yeah, I mean, I used to find the side netting most of the time. I think you should, if you're at top level and you're taking penalties at the top level, you should be able to find the side netting with fairly regularly, because you should be practicing that 100 times a week.
Yeah.
And you should have been doing it for so long. Then you should. I mean, like you said, goalkeepers shouldn't stop penalties. If your penalty doesn't, occasionally, just very occasionally, a keeper makes an absolutely unbelievable penalty save. It does happen, and sometimes you've just got to hold your hands up and say, do you know what? I hit it where I wanted to hit it, and he just gets right, and he leapt, and he made an incredible save. But most times, there shouldn't be any excuse. You from 12 yards, you should put the ball in the goal.
Yeah, you've got to look at the keeper's reaction.
The keepers can't come off the line. They can't dive before the ball's kicked.
Exactly.
If you strike that ball properly from 12 yards, the ball should be going in the back of the net. Simple as that. But people overcomplicate it. This is what people do all the time. They overcomplicate it. But I mean, the thing I wanted to say about the Chelsea-Arsenal game is, for me, and I know it's easy to say, and I know you're saying I'm a Spurs fan, all that. I'm trying to be just looking at it objectively. Arsenal deserved, I think, to win the game. So I'm not knocking that. Based on what happened in the 90-odd minutes, like you say, Tony, I kind of agree that the first half was poor but even. Over it went backwards and forwards a bit, and it was poor but even at half time. And Arsenal deserved it based on. The weird thing is, you won 4-2 away at Chelsea, and I didn't think you were that good. And I'm not being horrible when I say that. You weren't that great. They were absolutely shocking. I mean, I looked at the team sheet before. I thought, Tuchel's not bothered about this game. Rudiger was unavailable, and that just shows how much Rudiger is, how important he is to Chelsea. He's massively important because their defence never looks the same. But if you've got Rudiger out, how you then leave Silva on the bench? I was like, what? What's going on? You've got your best defenders missing, and your two best defenders, Rudiger and Silva, one's missing. Surely you have to play the other one with him marshalling the other two younger lads either side of him. How you put Sarr? I mean, Sarr was absolutely appalling. Everything he did was just appalling. His distribution, his control, his reading of dangerous situations, everything was just off with Sarr. He just had a shocking game. He got booked. Once he got booked, he didn't want to put a challenge in because he was worried about getting a red card. He was shocking. Christensen obviously made an absolute howler to let Arsenal get the first goal. I like Reece James. Think he's fantastic fullback. He had a shocker. He didn't have a great game. Reece James didn't have a great game. Mount wasn't at his best. I actually thought Werner had a pretty decent game, to be fair. I thought Werner was one of Chelsea's best players.
For once, he actually had a good game.
Lukaku, well, I don't know what I don't know what to say about him. But in Lukaku's defence, Tuchel refuses to play get his team to play in a way that will suit Lukaku, because you have to. Lukaku is someone that needs the ball played early. that is his style of play. If you're not going to play him early, you might as well not have him on the pitch. Because if you're going to play the way Chelsea played the other day, there's no point in playing Lukaku because he's going to be ineffective like he has been for months.
Yeah.
Chelsea don't play the ball early enough. Lukaku, earlier in the season, Chelsea were getting the ball up to Lukaku quite quickly when he first came in, and he looked quite decent. Then he got his injury, and ever since then, and then he did that ill-fated interview with the Italian press, and ever since then, it's just been an absolute disaster with him. But Chelsea weren't at the races, but I honestly felt that there was a lack of intensity, a lack of energy, and they were poor. But, you know, who am I to talk? Tottenham were poor last weekend. Arsenal were poor last weekend. You know, so it happens, but I just kind of wanted to I felt like Chelsea hate Spurs so much that they'd rather embarrass themselves at home to Arsenal than see Spurs get fourth. Chelsea would rather Arsenal get fourth than Spurs. But hey, I don't want to say that a game was thrown, but it kind of looked to me that Chelsea didn't want to win the match. And I mean, what Aspilicueta was doing at the end there with Saka, I mean, what that was all about. I mean, that was just like, well, you're having trouble killing us off, so I'll just push you over so you get a penalty, and then that'll kill it off completely. It was just, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. But if I was Arsenal, I wouldn't. That should give you a lot of confidence winning 4-2 at Chelsea, and your youngsters do need that after 3 defeats.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't get carried away with suddenly thinking all your problems are over, because Chelsea was shocking. And I can't see, weirdly, I think Man United have been shocking recently as well. Yeah. But I expect United will turn up at the Emirates tomorrow. I think United will have a go, because tomorrow is for United. Tomorrow is last chance saloon. If they want any chance of making top 4, I don't think they're going to do it. But if they want any chance, if they win tomorrow, then Spurs, Arsenal, and United are all struck on 57. Spurs will have a couple of games in hand on United and one on Arsenal. But it would keep United alive if they were to win tomorrow. I think if United don't win tomorrow, a draw or a defeat, United are definitely gone.
To add to what Andy's saying as well, I think that they will turn up as well. And another reason why is because they've now got a new manager starting next season. So the players are going to want to leave a good impression.
I think the timing of the announcement of Ten Hag yesterday, I think that is crucial to this game tomorrow. That I think they've announced it so that they give the players a shot in the arm to have one last go, because I think they know if they lose tomorrow, that's them done. So, you know, I think United will have a go. But I would still expect Arsenal to win the match, but I don't know why. I've just got a funny feeling United might turn up tomorrow and maybe get one over on Arsenal. Obviously, maybe there's a little bit of hope in that as well as.
Of course. And you've got every reason to be hopeful, because Arsenal are still, unfortunately, in a position where they can't affect what they put out on the pitch. They're still going to play.
But to some extent, you've got yourselves to blame for that. You've got yourself. To some extent, Edu and Arteta have got themselves to blame for that, because they let so many players go in January.
I've been saying that for weeks. That Arteta and Edu are wholly culpable for having let go of assets that the club has, because they still own those assets at a time when you can't afford to not have a striker. You know, I understand if Aubameyang is gone, but what you can't do is say, oh, let me get rid of Aubameyang and not have another striker ready to bring in. That's sackable for me. That's a terrible piece of management.
I honestly couldn't believe it when you let Aubameyang go and didn't bring in a striker. I couldn't believe it, because you were struggling up front anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm like,
not make any sense.
Well, that was a strange decision. And to be honest, honestly, that may be the thing that costs you top four.
Yeah.
That decision, that one decision.
I totally agree with you, Andy. I totally agree with you. But anyway,
Yeah, I mean,
let's move on from Arsenal.
You might still get top four. You've got right now that it's the difficult call between Spurs and Arsenal. Things could go either way, and there's games that we could both win and we could both lose.
I mean, tomorrow's pivotal. It's a pivotal game.
The only reason, and not saying this just because I'm a Spurs fan, the only reason I would say right now, I mean, obviously a month ago you had like 3 games in hand on us. You've obviously that's gone with your 3 defeats to Palace, Southampton, and Brighton. But then we choked last weekend. So that's a kind of, who's going to turn up? The only thing I would say is, looking at the 2 squads, we've got a little bit more experience and maybe a little bit more depth in our squad than you've got now.
I wouldn't say a little bit, bro. I would say a hell of a lot.
Well, okay, but what I'm saying is, I would say that might give us an edge on the running.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's going to be a lot in it either way. Yeah. And I look at our games and think, well, quite frankly, they could go. A lot of those games could go either way.
I think the remaining 6 for both teams. I think Arsenal have a slightly easier running.
I don't agree with you there.
No.
I think actually Spurs have the easier run. I mean, we've got Liverpool. We've obviously got Liverpool away, and personally, as a Spurs fan, I'm not saying we will write the game off, but I think we could write that game off. I think we can afford to lose to Liverpool as long as we beat Arsenal.
Yeah, I agree.
Right,
I agree.
So because of the goal difference advantage now,
and Apollo's made a comment below, and if I can just address that, because I believe Arsenal can't win out, which is basically when a team goes the remainder of the season winning all their games. So Man United tomorrow.
Can I just point out to that?
Yeah.
Both Sessegnon and Reguilon were both out for a couple of weeks, a couple of weeks ago. So we didn't have any left backs. So we've had times this season we've had no right backs either. So we have suffered as well with injuries. So anyway.
So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on. The remaining fixtures from the Saturday game. From midweek Wednesday games. Nothing really jumped out on that. Get me phone up.
Yeah, the Southampton.
Everton 1, Leicester 1, Newcastle 1, Crystal Palace 0. Once again, the Newcastle resurgency, and then the totally expected Man City 3, Brighton 0.
Yeah.
Thursday's fixtures saw Burnley get a 2-0 win at home to Southampton, which, based on what we said earlier, is them digging themselves out of a hole, which they have in their nature. They've done it several times before. Will they do it again? Very big question.
Well, I can't see Everton getting anything at Anfield.
Yeah.
So if Burnley get a draw, I think even a draw will take them above Everton on goal difference against Wolves. If they beat Wolves, Everton will be in the bottom 3. There's a good chance Everton will be in the bottom 3 before kickoff against Liverpool on Sunday.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
And if that's the case, Everton are in big trouble.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see a big team like Everton go down.
I do. So guys, we're going to wrap this up real quick with a prediction for this weekend. We got the full list. Everybody's in this weekend. Everyone's playing Saturday and Sunday. No Monday night football. Well, yeah, there is Monday night football, Crystal Palace League. So let's do this nice and quick, guys. Don't explain the way they're going to win. Just give us your score, and we'll go Neil, Andy, myself. So we'll start off with the early kickoff tomorrow. Arsenal at home to Man United. At Neil.
2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 United.
2-1 Arsenal. Neil, Leicester at home to Aston Villa.
1-1.
I've said 1-1 as well.
I'm going to go Leicester 2-1. Man City at home to Watford.
You see my hands? It's going to be a massacre. All right, 4-0. 4-0 City.
Well, I'm just going through my Sky Super 6 predictions now. I've gone 6-0 City.
That's 10 goals between me and you, Andy. That's 10 goals. Yeah.
Watford are in free fall. I'm going to go 3-0 Man City. Next game, Norwich at home to Newcastle.
3-1 Newcastle.
I'm going to go. It could be a goalless draw, but I'll go 1-1.
I'm going to join you, Andy. 1-1 on that one. Brentford at home in the evening to kick off at home to Tottenham. Neil.
2-1 Spurs.
3-1 Spurs.
3-1 to Spurs.
Tony wants to say 2-1 Brentford. That's what he wants to say.
I'd love to see that, but I don't see it. Okay,
I could see it. I could see it, but I just can't let myself say it. But
okay, Sunday's game start off 2 o'clock kickoffs. Brighton at home to Southampton.
2-1 Brighton.
What? 1-0 Brighton.
2-2 for me. Burnley at home to Wolves.
Controversial. 1-0 Burnley.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout, but I'm going to go 1-1.
2-1 Wolves. Okay, Chelsea at home to West Ham.
2-0 Chelsea. Bounce back.
Yeah, I think a lot of it could depend who's available at the back, but yeah, I'll go 2-1 Chelsea. I think West Ham might have half an eye on Europe.
Yeah, 2-2. Last game of that day, Saturday, is the evening kickoff or the late afternoon. Liverpool at home to Everton. Neil?
3-0 Liverpool.
Yeah,
I was going to say 3-0 Liverpool.
I'll join you on that one, 3-0. So we got 3 guys on 3-0s. And then on Monday night, we got Crystal Palace at home to Leeds. Neil?
1-0 Palace.
This is one of them games. It could be anything. Yeah. Depends what Leeds turn up. But I think Leeds' need for the points if Burnley was to get a result on Sunday, Leeds' need for the points starts to get quite heavy. So I think I might go for a 1-1 now. That they've just another point near a safety.
I think 3-2 to Crystal Palace. Lots of goals.
Yeah, okay.
So, gentlemen, that concludes our business for today. Any closing comments?
What about Thursday's game?
Man United at home to Chelsea. Woo!
Yeah. Okay, I will say 2-1 Chelsea.
I think that Thursday game, a lot of it could depend on what the results are this weekend. Yeah. Like, for instance, if United lose tomorrow, I think they're kind of out of it. I'm not sure how much motivation they'll have for the rest of the season.
Ten Hag, remember Eric Ten Hag's coming. So,
but yeah, if United could get a result at Arsenal tomorrow, then I could see them going to Chelsea and having a go. But I don't know. Was it at Chelsea? Did you say?
No, it's at Man United.
No, it's at Man United. Sorry.
I'll go 2-1 United.
And I'll go 2-1 Chelsea.
Okay.
So, guys, thank you very much. thank you for your apologies for the late start. As I said, I literally have just got in from work and a late evening meeting.
I'm sorry, I was late because I didn't realise we were going to be on because I didn't.
Yeah,
no one had responded. So
that was me. Sorry,
I was sleeping again, as Tony will tell you. He woke me up.
old man.
Look at the greys, man. Look at the greys.
So, guys, once again, thank you very much for joining us. Everyone in the chat, thank you again for listening in. Have a wonderful weekend. Up the Arsenal. See you guys next week Friday.
how many Spurs?
Hey.